A very good evening to you, and thank you for staying tuned to Y254 TV, the #1 youth station in Kenya. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show. This evening, we want to discuss how to become a better man. How can you improve who you are as a man and become better for yourself and for society at large? And joining me this evening, I have Stig Munene, who is a journalist and a podcaster. Karibu sana, Stig.
Asante sana.
And right next to him, it's Anthony Wasonga, who is the CEO of Cadabra Creatives.
Yeah.
Welcome here.
Thank you.
So as you can see, we are focused on the men because we want to empower the men. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we have really taken a focus on the gentlemen. So this discussion is to help you improve, and we want to hear some of your feedback, which we will sample as we progress with the show. So send us your comments, send us your opinions on our social media platforms at Y254. This is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Tuambie, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any tips on how to become a better man, share that with us. And you can also find me on my personal pages at Cheryl Blessing across all social media platforms. Now, to kickstart this conversation, I want us to have a very clear idea of what are the qualities of a man you would think is the ideal man. So I want to get the qualities that both of you have. Stig, what would you say are the qualities that you would say is the ideal man?
My #1 quality has to be a man who's able to control his emotions. Like a man with a high sense of emotional intelligence. That to me is like an ideal man and a man I'd look up to. A man who's able to, like, when the tempers are high, but you're able to act so cool, composed. That to me is the #1 ideal man.
And that's a very, very good point, because
Sure.
most men operate from logic scientifically. So if you have emotional intelligence, that's an added advantage.
Very.
So Songa, what are the qualities that you will say are the qualities of a good man for you?
Qualities of a good man.
Yes.
Nasema tu kweli, I'll be very honest. First, in today's climate, kuwa na pesa. I'll be very honest, kuwa na pesa. But jokes aside, for me, what I'd say is a core value, a leading core value is freedom. So that's what I'd say, a man who has freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from things like alcohol, freedom from things like extreme misbehaviors. I'd say that's something to aspire to. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have freedom na pesa of importance. So this are, you'd say, the qualities of a man that you'd look up to and you'd want to be like. So based on this, I want us to dive into a very deep conversation. First, we can touch on the emotional intelligence. So I want to bring awareness to men's mental health. So emotional intelligence in terms of you in relation with your friends and you in relation with your partners that you may engage with. Stig, how would you say you can become a better man to your friends in terms of empathizing when they share their problems or their difficulties with you?
I'd first say, like, listen more and talk less. When you have an issue as my friend, I'd be so open, come to me, let me hear your story. Then emotions aside, logic aside, I'll help you go through it.
But how would you help someone go through it? By just offering a listening ear?
Yeah, let's say you have a financial problem. We'll come figure it out. There are other options. There's a loan. I can tell you, go get a loan. You have an asset that you can get rid of ASAP. Yeah.
Okay, and that's very good, because sometimes all you really need is someone to listen and give you advice.
True.
And Songa, what would you say?
Yeah.
How would you react if one of your friends, one of your boys came at you and said, I'm dealing with something at home, like I'm going through it and I don't know who to talk to? Maybe it's even depression. How would you empathize better with them to help them resolve their issues?
Okay. I think I like what he's mentioned, and as men, where I am right now, I have many acquaintances but few friends. And the friends that I have today, people like, shout out to Cyprian, one of my oldest friends, is someone that we've grown through from the time we were 13, 14, till where we are now. So we have that close friendship. It's very different from other people. Because kasi kujui sana, I'm the type of person who, my life is like a meme. I don't want to give you advice in case uchome. So depending on the situation, and the gravity of the situation is that I'll always be there for my friends. My friends are my brothers. My friends' mothers are my mothers. But I'll help you, but also at the same time, stakubembeleza, and I will not expect you to bembeleza. Another really close friend of mine is my business partner. Shout out to Derek, Surrealism Design. We both go through ups and downs, me included, and he's someone who will always keep, I know I can count on him. He's going to come through even financially. But he's also someone who's going to keep me on my toes. He'll tell me like, hey, bro, hatuwezi kuwa tunasema, we can't be having the same conversation last year. Be it money, be it relationship, be it career, be it other life things. Of course, things can get stressful, but it's good for men to be there, but we also push each other na tusibembelezane, because the world is very punishing and cruel on us men.
Yeah, true.
And that's a very deep take, because the way you're saying you have to be real with someone, you have to tell them the hard truth.
Lazima.
That's very masculine. It's a habit that you expect from men. You know, women are more sensitive, that empathize with you, watakubembeleza, that let you be down for some time before they build you back up. So that is the one of the key differences that I've noticed. And how would you say you personally, kwa maisha yenyu, how do you manage stress? If something is, let's say at work, you've been dealing with something and it's overwhelming, how do you manage stress such that it does not overwhelm you in your personal life? What do you do, Munene?
I set a limit. Let's say my work time ends at 4. So after 4, like, I just shut down. Take a book, watch a podcast, I'll unwind and I'll forget about my lengthy day.
And what if it doesn't work? What if you're listening to this podcast and then your boss has been stressing you out for 1 month?
I'll sleep and I'll maybe wake up and strategize maybe in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, there's this meme that goes around of how do you deal with your problems. And there's this photo of the lady who's, and I slept and slept.
True, sleep works.
Yeah.
It works. You'll just wake up maybe in the middle of the night, strategies, take a pen and paper, put them down, arrange them in the order of your stress, work them one by one.
Okay.
It works.
So that might be one advice to someone who maybe does not know how to deal with their stress.
It's proven and tested.
Songa, do you have a different approach or do you do the same thing?
By then I realize, I don't know how you guys picked the guests, but you picked like polar opposites in a way. Because for me, one thing, it's gotten to the point whereby you kind of build immunity against stress, and especially for like my industry, advertising, it's very taxing, very it can take a toll on you, and you need to have a passion for it for you to survive in it long term. So also it gets to a point whereby maisha inakuanga kuchagua ile headache, itakuwa headache, because as in you have one head, you can't you have one head, so you really need to pick the headaches that you're going to let affect your mind. So as time progresses, because you know, it can be from financial to stress to relationships, because Cheryl, nyi wasichana mnatupitishia tu mambo. But it gets to a point where I realize that I need to prioritize which things I'm going to let be my headache. And you can't save everything, you can't save the world, but you just need to know the balls that you can't let fall down, and you need to keep them juggling. I think one thing I'd really like to work towards, as Stig has mentioned, is that having that balance between life and work. I wouldn't say I've cracked it yet, because I'll say I'm literally a workaholic. It was my sister's wedding. I was on the lineup, and at 10 a.m. I was still on a Zoom call for work. So I haven't really found a way to unplug. But sleep is very important, and if you don't give yourself that sleep, you'll find yourself crashing. So sleep by day actually helps. Yeah.
It does. Sleep is therapy. And the way you're also saying, by figuring out what is your priority, what do I need to focus on in this moment? And he's also said something slightly similar. When he re-strategizes at night, he focuses on what's my problem zangu ni gani. Kama ni money, work, relationship, you prioritize, and then you figure it out from there. Now, how about the way you've said women tuko na stress? How do you become a better partner to your woman? Like, if you feel like, because men are more logical in relationships and women are more emotional. How will you find the balance, or how will you help your partner if you feel like she's just too emotional and you have to also come in and understand her? Songa, venye unaniangalia hivyo, what do you do before we get to Stig?
I think one thing, I'm an only boy, so I grew up around ladies, I grew up around sisters. I can say I'm very in touch with women. And it's true that women have a different perspective and a different way of looking at the world. So it's like we speak different languages. And sometimes when that translation is not there, there tends to be a lot of clashing. So I think one of the things, before, also like Madam, what I'll say, especially to the age where we're getting to, I'll say, if as a man you know that a lady is maybe serious, she's ready to take the next step of her life, then don't block her blessings. When you're younger, it's, you know, we are still getting to know each other, tunacheza. But you need, before you can be that man for someone, and that's why nowadays I'm really selfish. Kwanza najua kuna mrembo fulani anashanga why we don't talk as much, why you're busy. Because before you can be that person for someone, you need to be selfish as a man and build yourself, be there for yourself, so you're not pouring from an empty cup. But for a man, before you can be the right man for your woman, I won't speak for women, but I believe it's the same thing. You need to start by filling yourself up. Yeah.
Which is important, because once you have an understanding of who you are, then you can be a better partner to someone who might be a wife or the mother of your children. Stig, what do you do? How do you become more emotionally aware and present in your relationship?
Okay, for me, it was really a hard task for me because we were boys only from our place. I'm the second born, so I've come to experience girls outside after I went to campus. So my first relationships were a miss. Like a girl, they'll be emotional, you're there bringing logic, they hate facts. So like, just crumbles everything. But I guess I took time learning girls, how to interact with them, how to help them, how to listen to them more. And I'd say with time, it's just listening to them, telling them what they want to hear that particular time, and maybe bring the logic 2 days later.
Yeah. But isn't that manipulation if you're telling them what they want to hear in that moment?
If it works to make her calm down, do it.
So that is your strategy?
That's my strategy. Because at that point, when let's say you guys are in a heated debate, something in an argument, she'll be there so emotional. You don't want to tell her bitter truths. It'll hurt her more. So tell her what you want to hear. If it's saying sorry, say sorry. But 2 days later, just save it at the back of your mind. 2 days later, bring that conversation up when like the mood is calm.
Because it will definitely be easier to have a conversation.
Yeah, it will definitely be easier that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like that he said that.
Yeah.
I like that he said that, you know, and this is something that I learned pretty early on for ladies. Like, from my mom to because you know, for guys, our mom is our first point of contact. With my mom, my sisters, you might think that they are talking because they want a solution, and for guys, that's our first go-to. But you'll realize, and this the difference between ladies and most men, not all men, is that for ladies, just talking, someone hearing them out, it's like it's therapeutic.
Therapy, yeah.
So you let them come like, imagine nani ame da 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 da, and after that it goes out. You see, for guys, kama uko na shida, like ukam nisho, niaje bro, mi kuna venye kuna hii deal nilikuwa nimengojea, nilikuwa nadai kwenda WRC, mama ameshajipanga, hiyo dua haijakam. You see, you can come and you'll tell me that all you want, but your stress bado itakuwa hapo. So yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference. Sometimes, truly, I'll acknowledge. Sometimes I just want to speak, be heard, and let it just go. But for you guys, it's different. You need solutions and you need strategies for you to deal with your problems.
True.
Okay, so how do you break stereotypes? The way we started, and that was me giving a stereotype of the way men are perceived as more logical. There is some scientific fact, but those are some stereotypes. Or even in Kenya, the way there's this ideology of toxic masculinity. How do you break away from stereotypes like that and become your own man? How do you sort of make your presence known and make your beliefs and your ideologies acknowledged by your friends and fellow men? How do you do that, Stig?
By doing you. Like when you take a stand on something, are you able to defend? Are you able to be firm on it? Do you, do you, do you. That one will work for me.
So even regardless of whatever everyone is saying, you just have to stand firm in your beliefs.
Yeah, because people will always talk. They'll always keep on talking. So just do you, the world will adjust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Songa?
I agree with it to a large extent, and I think as we grow older, we realize priorities change and focuses change. So when you do you and you make a stand, because the one thing that men we respect with other men is a man will take a stand. Like let's say for example, let's just make believe kidogo. Today, me and Stig, we are both running for president of Kenya. And we have different stands. I have this stand, he has that stand. You know, tunaweza kuwa tunagwarana, but I'm sure even our political leaders, there's a way, the ones who truly take their stand, kuna hiyo heshima, ile iko hapo, it's taking that stand. And then also for a man, even the more as you grow older, you realize that you have to provide value. Once you provide your value, you've shown your value, trust me, stress inakuondokea. That's so someone else anaweza kuwa na kado, akona ndai yake Range Rover. Kwanza mimi nadai Range Rover, but bado napandanga matatu. But but as a guy, when you know you're providing your value, you're showing it, kuna pride that, you know, because unaweza kuwa unaishi like, unaweza kuwa unaishi, let's say a bedsitter, na kuna mse mwingine who's the same age as you, anaishi Runda. But huyo mse amekombolea hiyo keja na mapero. You're the one who's paying your rent. You know, for a guy, when he gets to a certain age, you'll start up, kuna hiyo pride, kuna like, hii bedsitter ni yangu. So it's doing you and then also working to provide the value.
Which is so good. That's very good advice. And I hope our audience is taking note, because those are steps on how you can become a better man and to improve who you are every day. So how then do you know who you are? Uli mentioned something about meditating, listening to podcasts, doing all that. How have you found what you love, what you believe in? Umepataje iyo journey to that level where you are certain and you can say, this is me, this is Stig, and no one can shake that. How do you get there?
Okay, first it's starting your day with a schedule. Having a schedule for your whole day. By the end of the day, you'll be able to like, did I follow my schedule? Like, have I made any progress with my day? If you take it right, you're good. If you missed something on your schedule, then you'll have to question yourself and you'll have like to go back to the drawing board. Yeah.
So you have to have a schedule that you follow. You have to be consistent so that you can maybe form a habit and have a routine.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Ama? What can you add to what he said?
In fact, I'm wondering that maybe growing up with all boys, there's a certain a different perspective on life that he has. For me, it's something that of late that has been forced onto me. So kuna mi nimepata character development, the common one, but also character development from now biashara, my career, which I've never been the most organized person. I've never been the most like, this, me was those easygoing, freestyle people. But now I'm starting to realize that there's a certain type of level that I'm not able to reach until I start adjusting. So actually having a schedule, like you plan for a meeting with someone, I'm like, okay, let me put it in my calendar, so having that structure, you realize. And there's a lady who told me something, because I can remember I had told her like, I like being free, this, that, and she said, that's your core value, freedom, but don't you realize that by not having a schedule, not having a plan, it somehow takes away from your freedom? Because if you end up being late, if you end up doing this and you're being overwhelmed. So I'm getting to that point whereby sa imekuwa lazima, I start having that schedule and that structure. It helps.
It definitely helps. Now, but I think we're all, we are creatures of habits. So we like things that are repetitive. And tukiona hata from our foundation, from school and whatnot, there was a schedule of this time you have to go to class, this time you have to go to break. So it helps if we are clocked and we are timed. So that definitely gives your life some structure. So now I want to ask a question that not most guys like hearing. Are you feminists? Or do you support the feminist movement? So I don't know who to start with because the way both of you are looking at me, it's like, what? Stig, let's start with you.
Start here.
Yeah.
I'm not feminist. We've seen like women grow. We've seen like women become presidents. So like let them have their way.
But is that not supporting the feminist movement in some way? Because if you're letting them have their way and they're breaking this glass ceilings, is that not in a way supporting the feminist movement?
Let me say I'm 50-50 on it, because there's sometimes when you support it and you're like, no, this one can't go like this. So like you'll just have to hold your back and like, no.
Okay. Songa, what about you?
Am I a feminist? That's a very loaded question.
Very hard one.
It is.
Thank you. So it's how I look at it is this way. I've grown up around, like I said, I've grown up around women, and I've seen their good, I've seen their bad. I love women. People, I can remember there was a time nilikuwa naenda the equivalent of IB, like UA level, and my mom told one of the teachers like, umse anapenda wasichana sana, so you guys will just excuse him. I love women for everything that they are. I'm also conscious that all of us have our light and we have our shadows. I think what happens nowadays is being in advertising, people who like create agendas and a bit of propaganda. I understand that there's been a bit of agenda setting, but at the end of the day, ultimately, most men truly value women and most women truly value men. It's a small percentage of this, because toxic masculinity, it's not what everyone says it is, but there's some people who are actually toxic men. That's a very small percentage. And then also maybe for the ladies that might be aggressive, it's a small percentage, but this small percentage are so loud that we'll believe that that's the general assumption. We'll believe that that's like most guys, you might believe that most guys are saying like, me, siwezi ati dem na, mi siwezi bembeleza dem. Or you think like most ladies are like, I know me, if the guy can't do this, not. If us guys were to talk openly, mi nimewai kuwa na dem, kuna time I'm so broke, tuko kwa mat, na ananipitisha do hapa hivi chini without me even asking her. So the percentage of the naysayers or the negative people are just louder. Yeah.
Okay. And I like that answer. It's very well said, because there might also be some misinformation or lack of information about the topic that makes people have their opinions. So I want to quickly go to our Facebook page. You have shared your comments and thank you so much for that. I'll start with DJ King Spice, who says, just watching, a man needs enough support to become a better man. Tuned in from Naivasha. I agree with that statement. I believe you need a lot of support to become a better man. Kerry Trevor says, at least I'm learning something from two gentlemen. I'm watching from Embu, Kianjokoma, Salimikeni sana. Thank you, Kerry Trevor, and tumesalimika. Henry De Jong says, I'm right there with you by trusting in God and also working extra hard. I also agree with that statement. The Goat Davy says, count me in. Thank you. Timothy Ngaira says, good evening. I'm watching from Kitale. Thank you so much, Timothy. He writes another comment and says, kutoka mitume Kitale pamoja na Shingongo. Thank you, Timothy. Upcoming millionaire says 100% by working hard and avoiding ladies. Why are you avoiding ladies, upcoming millionaire? Ni character development, Amak. Yeah. Bewa Macha says watching. Thank you so much. Calvin Kerry says following up from Kianjokoma Embu Salimikeni sana. Thank you. Otinya Conscience Jonathan FM says Huisero Kakamega tuned in. Thank you. Bosine Mora says okay, let me follow comments. Please 20k your comment, Bosine. Write your opinions. 20k pia. If you have any questions for our guests, if you have any questions that you think we should address in this conversation, tupate on our Facebook, on our Twitter, or on Instagram. So now that we have gotten to the point where you guys are like half in, half out on the feminist movement, like I said, do you think it's because we have lack of information or people misinterpret the term feminism? Do you think that's the thing, Stig?
I guess, because there's a lot of like misinformation about feminists. Like a lady will on social media maybe give her firm stand on a certain issue, and like she'll be labeled as a feminist, which to me doesn't seem okay. Like we need to learn about women, how to handle them. We need to know how they think, how they handle their thoughts and everything. We need to learn a lot about women first.
Which I agree, and it's probably because of the times they've changed, the generations are different. So the way feminists are perceived today may not have been how they started out. Songa, do you think men should be educated more on women's rights and how they can support the movements?
That's being educated by who, with what intention? Because I think and I'll bring in the aspect of advertising, yeah? And advertising, at the end of the day, it's based off capitalism and wanting to push a certain agenda. So I've literally seen how different people can push a certain narrative to they know what they are trying to do, kuna kitu wanajaribu kufanya. So I think it's a bit of like, there needs to be more awareness, but it also needs to be coming from the right source. Because, and you know, if you look at this, when we talk about toxic masculinity, yeah, I know there's a name atutataja, but kuna mse flani. You see, if something is not given in an open space where people feel like they're being attacked, like people feel like there's contempt towards them, they close off. And they can easily be radicalized by someone who says like, you people, you're okay, come on to me. And then that's when they're pushing their agenda. So we really need to vet. And as guys, I believe also as ladies, yeah, when you're taking advice, make sure you're taking, like, don't go and take financial advice from ule msee anakuombanga do kila siku. Don't go and take health advice from mtu ule anashinda kwa hosi kila siku. Make sure you really need to vet and pray for discernment when you're getting that advice.
And that's very good advice, because sometimes there is agenda setting and social control in the intention of why someone is being educated somehow. So I want us to take a very short break, and when we come back, I want us to tackle the finances, because I know that's a major topic that people, men especially, want to discuss. So we will take a short break, but stay tuned to Y254 TV. Remember to go to our social media platforms and write your opinions and your comments, which we will sample right after the break.
Y254. Imagine.
Thank you for sticking with us. You are watching Y254 TV, the #1 youth station in Kenya. My name is Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show. And before we went on a break, we were trying to discover how can you become a better man. And joining me is Stig Munene, who is a journalist and a podcast, and Anthony Wasonga, who is the CEO of Cadabra Creatives. Karibuni tena. And before we went on a break, tulikuwa tunaongea about how men can improve, how you can incorporate routines and schedules. So I want us to dive deeper and go into the financial aspect of becoming men, because we all know society expects a certain level of financial stability for you to be qualified to be maybe a family man or a leader of some sort. So how can you advise someone who is just starting out, someone who's probably in university, how can they attain financial stability? Stig, what would you advise someone to do?
Okay, first, like, it's understanding your weak points, your weaknesses. Personally, I think I'm a panic spender. You'd get money and like you'll just buy something that you just come across and planned and budgeted for, which to me is a very, very bad weakness. So for a man to be a good to be financially independent, you have to have a budget, stick by it. And if you really have to go to stretch above beyond your budget, maybe have very solid reasons. So the pathway to financial independence is having a budget.
So it's like denying yourself now so that you can secure your future.
Yeah.
Songa, what would you add to that? In addition to budgeting, how else can you attain financial stability as a man?
You know, as someone in advertising, me hustuka mtu akisema like they don't want to spend. So now I have to find a way I create ads and content that makes him spend. But I do agree. You know, okay, then now we also have employment. I'll speak about more of the business side because for me, I had a short stint in employment before. Now nikajiona mimi ni mso naingia biashara. One of the things, as he's mentioned, is having that discipline, that financial discipline. Because you see, someone who's being employed, they know at the end of every month, kuna do ile ina ingia. So it might not go lower, it might not go higher, but at least they know at the end of the month that is coming in. Mtu wa biashara, by the way, and it's something that I've had to learn, is that it's not set in stone. Kuna hii kitu inaitwangwa DP, delayed payments. That's something that, you know, I had to come to terms with, and realizing that you really need to budget not only your time but your finances, because if you're not going aamki kila siku kwenda 9 to 5, you still need to really account for your time, plan, see how you can balance different things. And then also another thing, ukiingia biz, for now my young guys, mkishaanza kuingia biz na hiyo ile kadil kanono kameingia, do this. Try and pay your expenses for like 6 months or a year in advance. Funga tu macho, utaenda rally next year, because it's really going to help you. Balancing your expenses, vitu kama rent, vitu kama things that you need to do every day. You know, kama uko na rent, your rent is sorted. Something else like vitu kama stima, whatever, ni kitu unaweza amka asubuhi uchape hustle hapa hivi, you get it easily. Unaweza kupigia base yako eniaje Stig, hebu nisukumie katawa hapa hivi, nitakusort. But by the time I'm calling Stig, Stig niaje, hebu nitumie sijui do ya rent, it's a bit trickier. So you really need to, don't look at hiyo do imekuja yote leo, you say this month I've made this. Say I've made this now, how can I stretch this across 4, 5, 6, 7 months? Yeah.
Which is very smart advice. Na hapo hata tumeona venye routine ina come to play, because once you plan yourself, you plan your time, then you can account for what you're doing. Do you also value investments? Do you think it's important to invest as a young person today, or even just acquire assets, whether it's stocks, land, anything? Unaona the importance of that, Stig?
Yeah, there's the importance of it. What we lack as young people is the financial education of, like, let's say, how can we invest when we are young? I guess it's that lack of knowledge that makes us young people, like, we get lost in the raha za dunia, because we have no plan. You get money. Right now, if somebody, like a random guy, young guy, would get money, their mind will click, Naivasha. But you can still, there are lots and lots of things you can invest. You can get government bonds, you can get a parcel of land somewhere. So I guess we really need some financial learning.
So, okay, that's financial literacy is what is lacking in the youth. How do you think, Songa, how would you say it can be incorporated or it can be taught to younger men who are just starting to make money, or they're just starting to be independent? How can they acquire your financial literacy ndo wajue, even ndo nafaa kuplan, even ndo venye nafaa kubudget? What would you say to that?
The cold hard truth is this, yeah? You know, this saying that they say, three people you cannot advise: an African mother who's following our prophet, a young lady who's in love, and a young man with money. The reality, some of these things I believe is that, because at someone like me, kiliniramba, and that's how I learned it brought in that gravity. The reality is that even today we'll tell these guys all these things. You can do this, invest in this, invest in that. For a lot of people, not all men, because men are different, but for most people, itakuwa tu hiyo kuchoma. Utachoma, kinakuramba, unachomeka. And because for me, I've been through experiences whereby like in biashara that they'll stay with me till the time I'm 35, 45, 55. So the reality is that, guys, initially you're going to mess up, but you need to realize that it's not the end of the world. So you will mess up and learn from it. And you know, the best teacher is see Harvard, experience university. Yeah.
And that's very good. Hiyo ni advice poa kwa sababu ukweli we all learn from experience, because once something goes wrong, you will most likely not repeat it again. So hivyo venye umesema kimekuramba, it's in business. Let's talk about in relationships. Do you think the relationships that you've had in the past have formed who you are right now? Have they become lessons that you carry into how you interact with the opposite gender? Stig, sorry. Do you think your past experience imeku mold in any way?
Okay, it dawned on me later, like let's say you're in a relationship, the chick has left you, and according to you think she left for malicious reasons. But it dawns on you as time goes, when the things she was always complaining about, they're still happening in her life. So it had dawned on you like, I was the problem. So I guess past experiences really in my relationships have really molded me to who I am right now. Because let's say my first relationship, my then partner mentioned about me, I talk too much, naongea na nguvu. So with time, the next relationship, nitapunguza sauti, nitapunguza maneno. So as time goes by, you also keep on learning.
So una fine tune with each
relationship.
Songa, do you reflect on your past relationships alafu na how can I improve?
Yes, I'll answer that question, and I'll bring in another aspect of relationships that I think is very important. It's true, you grow and you learn, and relationships for me, mtastuka, hata the last person I spoke to before I got on set was my ex, and I even know she's watching right now. So we became friends, we were able to maintain that relationship. She's still a very special person to me, and I'm a special person to her. Of course I've grown. Na kuna hiyo kitu ulikuwa nasema, you say you think I talk too much. Hiyo ni kitu, sometimes as men we need to take our ego out. Another aspect of relationships, I think also, is relationships with friends and relationships with also business. I think it's important not to burn bridges. It can be your friend, it can be your ex, it can be your old bosses. Because I've had two bosses in the past. We are both in the past 24 hours, I've spoken to both of them. And I think it's really important to learn to cultivate those relationships in every aspect of your life. Zitakusaidia later.
Napo ume bring in a very important point, relationships with other people aside from even just your exes and whatnot, because you need these relationships, whether ni job ama nini. How would you encourage someone to maintain? Because unajua saa ingine mtu anatoka job and you probably left on bad terms and you're like, no, I don't care about these people, I don't want to keep in touch. How would you recommend mtu maintain his relationship?
Random checkups, like personally, for me, it wouldn't hurt me to sneak a hi to you, yet maybe you are my ex. It wouldn't hurt me to sneak a hi. How you doing? Random checkups do work for me.
Okay. So izo relationship who play a very important role in who you become.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about the support of family, because there's this perception that men get to a certain age and they have to be independent. You have to go out there and figure it out by yourself. So, unafikiria support ya familia yako, like you Songa, how do you think your family has supported you and made you become better? Like, how have you seen your sisters being there for you and it has improved you as a man?
For me, one thing where I'm so lucky and I'm blessed, and it's a privilege, I learned much later in life not to take for granted. I have an amazingly loving and supporting family. My parents, my folks, my dad, my mom, my sisters, they always really come through for me. And also growing up, kusema ukweli, mini wale wase ilibidi, it reached a point in my life because I grew up in privilege. Ilibidi nianze saa kujitafutia mashida kadhaa. Yeah, so I have a really supportive parent. And even, you know, it's like a cheat code, because hata na biashara, you know, at the back of your mind, unajua like okay, vitu zikiumana, I have 3 amazing sisters. I can call Essie, I can call Kylie, I can call Mercy, I can call my mom or my dad to, you know, come through. So I don't always act on it, because also it's good to learn to stand on your own feet. But at the back of your mind, knowing that uko na hiyo support system, it allows you to walk confidently into the world. Na hata unaweza toa kakifua kidogo hadi kunegotiate ma deals. Unaweza kuwa una kakitu kwa mfuko, but unasema no if this haiwezi ingia. So I'm conscious that not everyone has that, but for me my family has been a cheat code for me, and I'm thankful for that.
And you're blessed for that, because like
Yeah.
you said, not everyone has that. And it's nice to have people who have your back.
Yeah.
Would you say you have the same? Do you have a support system that you can lean on?
Yeah. Nothing actually beats the feeling of knowing like at the end of the day you have people who you can count on, people who you can call in case of an emergency. Nothing beats that. I have my brother, my elder brother. To me, he's my biggest support system. In case of any mishap anywhere, he's just a call away. And I just go on nicely nikijua like at the end of the day, in case of anything, just a dial away.
And I feel like the way you said, it makes you walk different when you know there's someone who has your back. You have some level of confidence in what you're doing and who you are. I want to touch on spirituality pia, because najua with this generation, we don't really care for being religious or things like that. But do you value spirituality? Do you think it's important for a man to have a sense of knowing who the creator is? Songa, what would you say to that?
Literally say that should be the number one. That should be the number one, because kuna vitu zingine honestly, it's unajua mtu atasema ni God. Some things actually ni God. And I'll bring in another aspect, because unajua there's a difference between being spiritual, being a believer, na kuwa holijo. Holijo anamkanga asubuhi tu kusema huyu mtu anafanyanga hiki kitu mbaya, mtoto wa nani anafanya, that's hiyo ni uholijo. But being a Christian, being a believer is having that connection with God. And you know, I think for me even sometimes whereby najua kuna kitu nafanya ni mbaya, but I still feel like I can always go to God and I say, God, I know hapa hivi kuna venye nimeuma nje, but Aki, please just protect me. And prayer is powerful, and prayer is another cheat code. Like before you start biashara, pray. Before you go in for a deal, just whisper of prayer hadi kwa mat, unless nizo hata kama ni those loud mats za kasa MSL, just whisper a prayer inside. Yeah.
My producer said Kasa was just chilling.
Mimi mse wa kasa.
Unprovoked.
No, mimi mse wa kasa, so na bonga real.
Yes, but that is true, because you can talk to God anywhere. And the way you've said, people say and people acknowledge the power of God in their lives. Stig, do you share his opinion? Do you think it's important for you to have a relationship with God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the same school of thoughts that prayers are very powerful tool. When in a dilemma, when in a catch-22, like just whisper something and miraculously a breakthrough will be found. So for me, I anchor my support on prayers, start my kick off my day with a word of prayer, whisper to God, like deal za hii siku zivane, kila kitu iende venye is scheduled. Yeah.
And that's good, because you know sometimes and you're any God, like only God can come through for you at times. So I want to focus a bit on you in your career. How do you find fulfillment? How do you find a sense of worth in what you're doing? You Stig right now, the way you're doing journalism and you're a podcaster, how do you find yourself a sense of worth in everything that you do every single day, and you find contentment in that?
First is by setting a target. I'm a journalist, I also write. So I set a target for writing. Like I'll try and write a transcript today, see how it goes and see if it will get published. So at the end of the day, when my targets mark all my targets correct, nothing beats that feeling.
You find contentment in
Very,
accomplishing
very.
your goals.
Yeah.
Songa, would you say that because you found your passion, it has given you a sense of fulfillment?
Mbaya, ile sana. And it's true. You know, I think for guys, there's this narrative, although I still maintain, wanaume tafuteni pesa. But there's this thing whereby like you know there's sometimes whereby unajua umefanya hii kitu, like for me it's advertising, for me it's especially on digital. Kuna kazi I've done for different brands, big brands, like hadi unaona, you see where they've come today and how it's the impact that you make in the industry. We have people from bigger agencies reaching out and saying, hey, what you guys at Cadabra are doing is amazing, like you're inspiring us. And these are people that you're looking up to. Kuna kitu inakupea that enye bado sijafika hiyo level nataka, but it gives you a certain level of confidence, pride and kujiheshimu na kujitii. Yeah.
Na hiyo pia inaongezea in you feeling more like you're the man.
Sana. But hadi unaweza katia Empress na you feel you're walking like enye I'm a billionaire, niko na Range Rover, na hiyo time umekama hapo na matatu. So it's, yeah.
That's good. That's very good. I want to read your comments again. This is still Facebook. Thank you for sharing your comments. We have Kevin Kibe who says, I believe becoming a better man is all about believing in yourself, trusting in your gut, and taking risks. Hapo kwa feminism, the society today only rewards women. They let burdens on men. I'm sorry sana Kevin. Songa kona comment on that. So we'll come back to that. We'll take note of that. Edward Edu says, I agree. Take advice from responsible people. Mtu akona future. Watching from Githaruru Gatundu. Thank you so much, Edward. Then we have Cherestin Mangi Mwangi who says, I'm taking notes. Asante, ndo so that we can improve. Peter Maxnoff says, I'm tuned from Chogoria. You have a very nice topic. Thank you so much, Peter. Catherine Shiko says, pamoja. And then she also says, insana. Asante sana, Kate, tumekuona. It's Aether Velas says, support, it's the first thing. Kakamega tuned in live. Thank you so much. DJ Go Main Man says, two gentlemen, they have points from it's working hard to becoming better for something or somebody. Yes, you definitely have to work hard to become better. Thank you for that comment. Wesley Gibson says, tuned in. Thank you. Mark Dogo says, count me in. Thank you so much, Mark. Goat the Devi says, count me in as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys for sending in your comments and watching us. We have that comment on the feminism, and before we get there, I want to talk about personal grooming, because we all know the way you look is probably the way you feel. It equates. The way you stay. Do you think it's important for you to maintain your household, to clean your clothes, clean your house? Sieti tunaingia kwa nyumba unapata tu everything is everywhere. Because guys usually tend to not really care for the aesthetics. Sometimes unapata mtu anakaa tu ni mattress na kibuyu na gas na ni hivyo. Do you think it's important for a man to invest in where he stays and take care of where he stays and himself? Songa?
Apo, I think I'll look at it from both sides, because it depends on where you are at in life, and also there's the house and there's the personal grooming. So personal grooming, like a fresh haircut, something as simple as I wish more people could do, ni kitu kama roll-on. Because umaikuwa kwa mat and the person next to you hadi unaumia tu. So there's these small things, and grooming is that something whereby, and one of the beautiful things about relationships, like learning how to relate to the woman, kuna some things that she might show you that you'll never have known, you'll never have thought for before. So personal grooming, by the way, it counts for a lot. Even in the achana na story ya madem. First na madem ukikam unaweza kuona kakitu but umechapa kaluku, uko freshi, marashi, hata kama ni hizi za kurefill. At least it kuna venye unaweza bebo. But even in a professional setup, unajua like, and I think one thing I'm still struggling with it, but I can remember there's one time I went for an interview and I showed up nikana in a club. And I missed out at first, and possibly that was a reason. Of course, I was really good at what I did, so later on I came in, and because they were able to see how good I am, they allowed me to, umse anadai, anakam na hivi, it's okay. But before you get to that point where you can show what you're doing, your presentation is fast, and there's a level, hata na hii stuff ya nywele, najua there's a level whereby I will not be able to reach until I assume that role. So personal grooming is really important. And for where you stay, na I won't lie that I'm the cleanest person in the world, because kuna watu wale wamekam kuni visit watasema umse bro. So but I believe your place where you stay every day, in fact I'll say your shoes, your bathroom and your bedroom, they should be the most comfortable places in the world, because that's where you spend most of your time. Yeah.
Okay. And you only advice and you're strong, because men with shoes. So shoes, bathroom, bedroom, always take care of that.
Invest in them.
Okay. And also the way you mentioned, first impression matters. The way you're perceived really matters. Stig, do you think ni important? Unaweza agree, your grooming, kuchunga kwako, nini, does it contribute to you becoming a better man?
It does. For me, the cardinal rule is like, no matter the occasion, make sure you're dressed nicely. Even if you're going maybe for your breakfast, don't go shaggy. Unaweza pata crush wako kwa duka pia. Like, make sure you're presentable. And how do you even handle your personal hygiene? When you wale ukivaa socks, unazipail kwa viatu till 1 week. Are you that type? So for me, personal hygiene is very, very important to me.
Okay, you have to take care of yourself so that you can even feel better and get better ultimately. Yeah. So I want to talk about also taking risks and the fact that from that comment, we have seen that men have been given the heavy load. Nyindo mnapatonga burden ya finances, bills, all these things. How do you think it makes you feel that you have all these responsibilities given by society that you did not even sign up for? And how do you even take risks in your life to make sure that you have made your mark known in whatever field and whatever place that you're going to? Songa, what do you do?
I think the burden is that it's true, it's there, and it's our perspective. Also, I believe women do have a certain burden that they bear that as we might not understand. It's like looking at 69 from different angles. And I think it's also, as guys, unajua, you can see, cause kuna social media, kuna say like wakona mandai, say wana pop bottles at the club, na wakonao crush wako, na unaona umse like umeikuwa na crush kwa celeb but unaona amenuliwa ndai and everything, like when Hamisa alinunulia Range Rover. But then at the same time unajua you need to realize that kuna pressure ingine usijipe. You see, if it's something like, let's say you're a young guy, because there's some young guys who start families, labda umepata mtoi, and kuna hiyo hustle like unaambiwa like enye mtoi ana need like school uniform, and I need this, because kids need a lot. That's a pressure. It's still a pressure, but it's understandable. But now pressure ati, mi nadai kuenda hapa hivi, nadai whatever, ati sijui champagne, aki vasha, that's really unnecessary pressure. And it's true, sherehe ni poa, hata mi napenda sherehe, but you might be stealing your future. It should be something that is sustainable. So yes, we have that burden. Unafaa kuwa na kakitu kujichunga. But choose the pressure. Don't go overboard. Don't compete with these people, because honestly, you will go there, you will pour your money on different people, trying to impress them. Na hiyo pesa ikiisha, the next person is going to come and the spotlight will move. So budget your pressure. Yeah.
And that's also again on prioritizing. You have to know what's important and what is just passing. So Stig, in alignment with that, I want you to also give me a final comment, because our time is running out. Also, I'll come back to you, Songa. Give us your final comments. What advice you'd give to any gentleman that's watching? Mtu mwenye maybe ana struggle kwa personal life yake, or even just with making their mark known, making themselves known and their presence felt. What would you advise them to do?
Okay, for me, it's to take every step at a time. Like, you can't fight more than 10 battles at one point. Just handle as they come, arrange them in their order of urgency, and you'll find a way for it. Like, because men are emotionally weak. A man will succumb maybe to depression so fast than I think a lady would. So like, it's, for me, like, handle stuffs as they come. There's no rush in everything.
So just take it one day at a time
One day
and
at a
you'll
time.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Songa, what's your parting shot to our audience? What advice would you give to someone that you've learned through your experiences?
No man is an island. Relationships are key. And finding even just one person, itakusaidia sana. And shout out to Derek, my business partner, who we are building Cadabra Creative together. Thank you for trusting me and coming along for the journey. Guys, find your team. Thank you.
Thank you. I like that advice and I like the conversation we've had. So I'll just wrap it up with this quote by John Dewey, who says, "The good man is the man who, no matter how morally unworthy he has been, is moving to become better." Because it is possible for you to improve yourself every day. You have to have the intention and you have to put in the work. If you know exactly what you want to be and who you want to become, then you just have to work towards it every single day. If you improve 1% every day, then eventually you'll get to where you need to be. And that has been it for today. Thank you so much for watching us. And I hope you're also keeping your mental health in check. Do not forget to prioritize your mental health. Men who are watching, talk to someone if you have issues. Open up and do not die with your problems. Stay tuned on Y254 TV. A repeat of this show will happen tomorrow. That is Friday between 12 to 1 p.m. So stay tuned for that. You can also find us on YouTube. Go to the Y254 page and under the playlist of Power Talk, you will find this and more episodes that we have done. Thank you so much. That's it for tonight.